Congressional report frets over deployment of Russian and Chinese laser and microwave weapons in space. Now, the solar energy was used since antiquity. I didn't know too much about this, but I just found out. The ancient Greeks used solar rays in order to intensify them, using them to burn up enemy ships. Ever since H.G. Wells published War of the Worlds in 1898, direct energy weapons, DEWs. Directed energy weapons have been a recurring theme in science fiction literature. The idea of what we would call a death ray, which can instantly destroy or burn a target from a distance, dates back to the belief that Archimedes used a burning glass to set fire Roman ships during the siege of Syracuse, 212 BC, and this was set up recently by scientists, and they only used 48 mirrors in order to do that. But going back to the Congressional report concerning laser and microwave weapons in space, Russia and China have fervently opposed U.S. plans for the deployment of offensive weapon systems in space for over 10 years. They jointly proposed a treaty to prevent such arms from being deployed by any nation. Earlier this year, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said there was still a chance to reach an agreement on this issue. Congressional Research Service, CRS, agency responsible for briefing U.S. lawmakers on military matters and other affairs, accused Russia and China of engaging in threatening activities in outer space, which may harm the U.S. and its allies' national security, and of working to create a whole range of space weapons with offensive capabilities. Their document titled Space as a Warfighting Domain, issue for Congress, the CRS indicates that many states and international entities, including the Department of Defense and the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, now declare space as a warfighting domain, even as various treaties and agreements formally continue to promote the heavens as a peaceful domain. The CRS accuses China and Russia of having weaponized space as a means to reduce U.S. and allied partner freedom of operation in space, and charges China with testing and working to obtain proven counter-space capabilities that threaten U.S. and allied partner satellites and national security. Kindly support my Patreon account since YouTube has again demonetized my YouTube channel. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. Classifying space as the ultimate military high ground, with particular importance, of course, to communications, intelligence, and missile warning surveillance operations, this report suggests that the U.S. had 2 main strategic adversaries, having studied warfighting concepts and have focused on space system as a particular U.S. vulnerability. It says China and Russia are reported to be pursuing non-destructive and destructive counter-space weapon capabilities such as jammers, lasers, kinetic killer anti-satellite ASAT systems, and cyber attack capabilities. The report says all these systems threaten U.S. satellites and make it so that U.S. military space superiority can no longer be taken for granted, of course. The new technologies involved are said to include kinetic physical, direct descent weapons, that is missiles, non-kinetic physical, such as lasers, high-powered microwave weapons, DEWs we know, the nuclear weapons detonating in space that create an electromagnetic pulse. Both countries are also charged with developing and testing a variety of space platforms, including the Russian Inspector satellites, the Chinese ground-based anti-satellite ASAT weapons, and more. So the CRS primary report does not mention the space-based or meant for space-use weapons that the U.S. is known to be developing, and according to publicly available information by U.S. officials' own admission, these include Space Force's program to create direct energy weapons for U.S. satellites, a direct violation of the 1967 Outer Space Treaty, an advanced new class of daytime ground-based satellite tracking, and space surveillance radar systems, which are already operational. Last year, Pentagon officials appeared to confirm that U.S. military-industrial complex was working on space-based missile defenses to shoot down enemy hypersonic glide vehicles. Such a development would be a violation of the 1967 agreement and the 1972 Anti-Ballistic Treaty, which prohibits the creation of missiles defense systems. The Bush administration unilaterally walked out on the ABM treaty in 2002. Russia and China jointly proposed the establishing a new international treaty on the prevention of the deployment of weapons in outer space in 2008. So obviously we know that they're already doing that. With the proposal including in its scope space-based weapons, as well as systems which could be used against other countries, space-based objects, such as satellites. U.S. officials have dismissed the proposal as a mere diplomatic ploy by the two nations to gain a military advantage, and none of the past 4 U.S. administrations have moved forward with negotiations. Russian officials continue to promote the 2008 treaty and to express publicly that militarization of space can still be stopped. In February, former Minister Lavrov said that there is still a chance to work out generally accepted, legally binding measures which can prevent a military confrontation in outer space. That's frightening, isn't it? This is by Ilya Chikhanov on Sputnik. This is going on. Obviously, they're up there doing all these things. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support.